Alex Pereira has once again set the MMA world on fire with a cryptic social media post that has sparked massive speculation among fans and analysts. In a recent Instagram upload, Pereira shared an image of himself holding 2 UFC championship belts accompanied by a short but powerful caption, 2 + 1 = 3. At first glance, the message may seem simple, but for those who have followed his career trajectory, the meaning appears far deeper. Many believe it is a deliberate hint that the UFC powerhouse may be preparing to pursue a third belt, this time in the heavyweight division. Pereira's evolution within mixed martial arts has been nothing short of historic. After conquering the middleweight division and then moving to light heavyweight to secure gold once again, the idea of chasing a third belt is not unrealistic for someone with his striking pedigree, fearlessness, and momentum. The ultra-champion mindset has always defined Pereira, and the symbolism in his post strongly suggests that he sees an opportunity to achieve something unprecedented in UFC history, becoming a world champion in 3 separate weight classes. However, the potential move to heavyweight would not come without major challenges. Current UFC dynamics at the top of the division make the path anything but straightforward. Jon Jones, widely regarded as one of the greatest fighters of all time, has openly called for a clash with Pereira, repeatedly aiming verbal jabs implying he wants the fight at the White House, a playful reference that has only amplified fan excitement. Yet, even if Jones is the biggest name in the division, Pereira would not be able to bypass the established championship line. If Pereira truly wants to be crowned heavyweight champion, he would need to confront whichever fighter emerges victorious from the highly anticipated rematch between Tom Aspinall and Cyril Gane. That matchup alone will decide the next official UFC heavyweight title picture. Only after that path is cleared would Pereira be able to realistically step in and challenge for the belt. Whether the UFC would fast-track him due to his superstar status remains to be seen, but the decision would unquestionably generate historic attention. For now, the meaning behind the caption, 2 + 1 = 3, remains open to interpretation. It could be a mental game, a hype strategy, or a genuine roadmap to the next phase of his legacy. What is certain is that the MMA community is watching closely, and only time will reveal whether Alex Pereira is preparing for one of the most ambitious moves the sport has ever witnessed. The MMA community is calling out Ilia Topuria and accusing him of being fake following a recent announcement that Cristiano Ronaldo has become a shareholder in Way of Warrior FC, an MMA organization in which Topuria is a part owner. After the news broke, Ilia publicly welcomed Ronaldo on Twitter with the message, "Welcome to the family, Cristiano." On the surface, it seemed like a respectful interaction celebrating Ronaldo's involvement in the sport. However, fans quickly resurfaced an older interview in which Ilia expressed a very different sentiment. In that interview, Ilia was asked who he would personally invite to one of his fights. He responded that he would invite Lionel Messi because Messi lives in Miami. He continued by saying, "Cristiano, as long as Messi exists," implying that Ronaldo would not be on his list while Messi remained active. Once this clip resurfaced, fans began criticizing Ilia for suddenly praising Ronaldo now that their involvement benefits the business he has invested in. The MMA community took to social media, accusing Topuria of switching loyalties because money was now on the table. According to many fans, Ilia is displaying double standards, pretending to show support only because Ronaldo now has a financial stake in the organization that Topuria is part owner of. The sentiment online was overwhelmingly negative, with fans claiming that money had changed Ilia and that his public behavior is inconsistent with his previous opinions. Critics pointed out that this was not the first time Ilia has been accused of shifting his allegiances for popularity. Fans referenced earlier interviews in which Topuria said he was a Valencia supporter, but later changed to claiming loyalty to Real Madrid once he became more famous. Some fans labeled him a hypocrite for switching support from Messi to Ronaldo only when it became beneficial for his business interests. Comments suggested that Ilia is trying to take advantage of Ronaldo's global influence and fanbase to elevate his own brand. Many reactions emphasized that Ilia previously disrespected Ronaldo while praising Messi, yet is now suddenly calling Ronaldo family because he is investing money into Way of Warrior FC. Fans said Ilia turned the very people who once applauded his trash talk into clowns by backtracking and attempting to build a friendship with a celebrity he once dismissed. According to critics, this behavior proves that Ilya's enthusiasm isn't genuine and is driven purely by financial gain and public relations strategy. Overall, the backlash continued to grow as fans concluded that Cristiano Ronaldo always has the last laugh. Supporters of Ronaldo accused Ilya of clout chasing and acting opportunistically, insisting that the sudden shift in tone exposed who he really is. Dana White is facing major backlash from the MMA community following the announcement of another controversial UFC title fight. Earlier, discussion surfaced surrounding the Arman Tsarukyan situation, but that was not the only matchmaking decision fans criticized. News broke that UFC 325 will be held just 1 week after UFC 324. Alongside that announcement, Dana White confirmed that Alexander Volkanovski will be rematching Diego Lopez for the featherweight title. Their first fight took place earlier this year in April, with Volkanovski winning convincingly. Since that bout, Lopez secured a strong victory over Gene Silva, while Volkanovski remained sidelined. After the rematch was announced, the reaction from fans and fighters was overwhelmingly negative. Many argued that Lauren Murphy and Movsar Evloev were the more deserving contenders. Murphy spoke out on X, expressing his frustration and stating that missing the chance to fight one of the featherweight greats is what hurts him most. He said the UFC is no longer focused on who deserves the opportunity but on who is most popular. Former UFC fighter Cub Swanson responded to Murphy's post, saying the UFC has always worked this way and that fighters only recognize the issue once it affects them personally. Evloev later posted a message to Murphy on X, offering to give him the chance to fight the #1 contender on the same card as the championship fight. Things escalated further when Murphy took a shot at Evloev by posting a screenshot from a video that allegedly shows him knocking Evloev out during training, claiming he would release the content due to Evloev's disrespect. The backlash continued with fans expressing disappointment toward the UFC. Many said Murphy or Evloev should have been next for the title shot and that giving Lopez a rematch made no competitive sense. Fans accused the promotion of ignoring rankings, merit, and deserving contenders. Some argued that the matchmaking appeared to sabotage fighters like Tsarukyan, Murphy, and Evloev, who seemed to be intentionally kept away from title opportunities. Others pointed out that Lopez was ranked lower when he beat Silva and should not leapfrog undefeated contenders. Critics described the booking as lazy matchmaking, a rematch nobody asked for, and even the worst title shot in UFC history. Some suggested the UFC was trying to engineer a moment for Volkanovski's retirement or push Lopez into a champion position. Many fans warned that hardcore supporters will eventually stop watching if top contenders continue to be overlooked. Volkanovski later addressed the backlash during a YouTube video. He acknowledged that Murphy and Evloev deserved the title shot more but said the UFC ultimately wanted the Lopez rematch. He stated that he is willing to fight whoever is placed in front of him and believes fans will still enjoy the fight. Still, he admitted that Murphy and Evloev were more deserving contenders and the two he originally expected to face. Another major matchup has officially been revealed for UFC 324, adding even more excitement to an already stacked card. Reports confirm that Ava Gaudier is set to face Andre Pulv in what is shaping up to be a crucial bout for the future of the middleweight division. Both fighters have been steadily rising through the rankings, and this fight could play a significant role in determining who takes the next step toward title contention. Ava Gaudier enters UFC 324 with tremendous momentum. He is currently 4-0 in the UFC, and all 4 victories have come by knockout or technical knockout. Gaudier has quickly built a reputation as a dangerous finisher who brings constant pressure and explosive striking inside the octagon. His most recent appearance at UFC 320 showcased his power once again when he secured a first-round TKO victory over Trey Donvines. That performance reinforced the belief that Gaudier is one of the most compelling prospects in the division and a serious threat to anyone standing across from him. On the other side, Andre Pulv has been proving himself as well. He holds a 2-1 record in the UFC and has shown considerable improvement with each fight. His most recent victory came against Nick Klein, where he earned a second-round TKO from brutal body kicks, demonstrating not only precision but also a calm and strategic approach to breaking down his opponent. Polv's evolving skill set has earned him attention from analysts, who view him as someone capable of disrupting rising contenders and establishing himself among the elite. This matchup between Gauthier and Polv presents an intriguing stylistic clash. Gauthier is known for his forward pressure, knockout power, and willingness to exchange. Polv, while also dangerous and striking, brings a more calculated pace and a focus on methodical damage rather than wild aggression. The contrast between Gauthier's explosive pace and Polv's tactical striking is expected to create a thrilling dynamic inside the cage. For both fighters, the stakes are high. A victory for Gauthier would push him even closer to the rankings and elevate his rapidly growing reputation as one of the sport's most frightening finishers. Meanwhile, a win for Polv would prove that he is not merely an underdog or a spoiler but a true contender capable of stopping the division's brightest prospects. With both athletes hungry to climb the ladder, UFC 324 becomes even more compelling, and fans can expect a war when Gauthier and Polv meet center cage. Recent reports have confirmed a major scheduling shift that will affect the entire UFC fanbase starting in 2026. According to journalist Dave Meltzer, the UFC will begin its pay-per-view events 1 hour earlier under the organization's new broadcast partnership with Paramount. This decision is driven by a strategic effort from Paramount to maximize viewership on the East Coast, where fan engagement and ratings are expected to peak during earlier broadcasting windows. Meltzer shared the update publicly, stating that pay-per-view cards will now begin at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, marking a departure from the previous start schedule. This change is designed to address long-standing concerns about time zones and late-night broadcasts. Historically, the UFC began pay-per-views later in the evening partially due to West Coast business interests, especially sports bars that preferred a later start. They argued that a 6 p.m. local start time would be too early for peak customer traffic. However, Paramount appears to be prioritizing national viewing performance, especially in East Coast markets where later finishing times, often pushing past 1 a.m., were considered inconvenient for large segments of the audience. The new start time aims to improve the overall viewing experience by preventing main events from running too late into the night. Damon Martin also contributed to the conversation by posting the finalized start times for UFC 324, providing fans with a clear preview of what the event schedule will look like moving forward. For UFC 324, the early prelims will begin at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, followed by the regular prelims at 7 p.m. Eastern. The main card will officially kick off at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. This format reflects what fans can expect at future numbered pay-per-view events once the scheduling transition becomes standard. While some fans appreciate the earlier start and its benefit to East Coast audiences, others have expressed mixed feelings, particularly viewers on the West Coast who may need to adjust their typical fight night schedules. Additionally, hardcore followers who watch events from the very beginning of the broadcast should prepare to tune in earlier than usual. Full show viewing, from the earliest prelim to the headlining fight, will now require a longer and earlier time commitment. Overall, the shift marks a significant structural change in UFC broadcasting habits. It reflects broader business priorities shaped by the Paramount partnership and a focus on maximizing live viewership. As pay-per-view broadcast patterns adapt, fans will be watching closely to see how this transition impacts audience numbers, fighter promotion, and the traditional experience of UFC fight nights.